retirement does not mean when you're 65, when you're 55. The planning has to start now. And ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite our first speaker from the CPF Group, Irene Mbonge. And after, she'll be followed by CIM Kenya and Motown and Big Box and IQ Marketing, and I'll be calling you one by one. Irene, I caught you by surprise. It was Colombo first, but here you go. Welcome. You want to use this or this? I think this, your picture will come out better in the newspaper with this.
I think this would be better, right? Can everybody hear me? Good evening, everyone. Yeah, they clearly caught me by surprise. I was never on the program. But here we go. This is Irene Mbonge from CPF Financial Services, and I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of who CPF is. Very elaborate explanation on why the topic today is very timely for all of us, really. And I dare say the young people, the generation X and Y, are the worst afflicted. You know, we think, what is our mentality? YOLO, right? Yeah, you only live for the moment. Tomorrow will take care of itself. So thank you, the Marketing Africa team, for thinking this topic very important, for taking it as seriously as you did. Because if we don't do this now, we'll always live in the perpetual cycle of poverty. And the government cannot always bail everyone out. There's the, what is it called? The cash transfer program, trying to help the people at Mashinani. But we are here, we are working, we are professionals. One day we are very well off. We can pay our bills, we can afford holidays. 1 year down the line after retirement, we start the Serikali Saidia thing. It's never going to help this country. So that's why we are here today. CPF is a group of companies. Initially, you might have known it as Lab Trust. Lab Trust was Local Authorities Pension Trust. And because of our dynamic thinking and innovation, CPF has grown into a group of entities. And they were all born out of the desire to grow this nation, the desire to deliver services in a more efficient manner. It's not all about taking care of the pensioners we have. What other services can we offer? So over time, the pension scheme invested in other entities in which we already had interest in. The first one was a technology company called Lights, Laser Infrastructure and Technology Solutions, which was born out of our ICT department. It was an innovative way of doing business. We're in the public sector, but we have a very private sector way of thinking. We compete in the normal awards that all the private sector companies do, the Koyas, the pension awards, the, name them, the fire awards, and we win awards as CPF Group because we believe much as we are public sector, we must serve our customers in a very private sector mentality. Service delivery is everything to us. So that was the first company. We have another company that is in property management, that is Laser Property Services. And the third one is in insurance, that is Laser Insurance Brokers. Those are our 3 investment arms, and all the investment goes back to the pension scheme. Now, as pension administrators, because CPF Financial Services is the pension administrator for the schemes that we run the old Lab Trust scheme that a lot of you know. We run the County Pension Fund. That is the scheme for county governments, the 47 county governments in Kenya. And the third scheme is an individual scheme, which will be very relevant tonight because as an individual, you can take action. You can take it upon yourself to start saving for your retirement now. Do not wait for 50 or 55 years. You have to start with your first paycheck if possible. If you've not started, it's never too late. Start where you are. So that is who we are in a nutshell, CPF Group, and we are very privileged to be here tonight. Our CEO will be giving the keynote speech much later on. So thank you very much.
Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, for some of you know me, I'm a common face in Mombasa, Marketing Africa's Quiz Night because I work for Baraka FM, which is a major sponsor. But I stand here as an ambassador of CIM Kenya as a board member. What I would like to say about CIM, the 20 years is just CIM Kenya. But as CIM International, it's been over 100 years. And how many people are members of CIM here? Or have ever been? Or plan to be? That is the best retirement plan that you can do for your career, in addition to CPF. I'm a personal testimony of how CIM transformed my career, and it changed my whole thinking, my whole perspective. Beyond my degree and my master's program, when I did my CIM qualifications, my thinking totally changed. Reason because CIM qualifications are professional, they're not academic. They give you real solutions that you solve for companies. And that is what the whole CIM training and qualifications are about. In addition to our qualifications, we offer in-house training. We can come to your company, train, give you CIM certificates. We also have open learning programs. This same month, we have one for brand, marketing the brand, that will be taking place, same venue here, 19th to 20th April. In May, we have 3 days in Kisumu for sales, customer care, and social media. In June, we have Mombasa for value proposition. So if you love per diems, put a tick on that. We know either in Kisumu and Mombasa, right? Yeah? Yeah, so I welcome all of you on board. Every time you attend a CIM event or CIM-sponsored event, you earn CPD points that actually add up to your career growth. And that's why you hear of us talking about chartered marketers and other people that are fellows of the CIM. Even the card that you use today, if you're a CIM member, you just go and upload the screenshot of that card and you actually earn 2 hours. CIM membership is international and recognized all over the world. You can work for any company in this world because CIM is an international qualification. Thank you.
Good evening. Domo has not been clear on how we met, under what circumstances over the years our creativity has been consistently challenged, and how we got to be where we are today, and the other stories that we'll keep away for now. I thank you for your discretion. I'm here on behalf of Motown Group, where I do various things. It ranges from events, ranges from production, goes into broadcasting, goes into digital marketing. The common thread is you have to be creative, responsive. You have to want to discover what your audience and what your clients are doing. So as Mdobo Bagi said, creativity is key. And me and him have been practicing it since the dark days in Kenyatta University. I won't get on this stage tonight to tell you what we do because it's self-explanatory. We're glad to have partnered with Marketing Africa to bring this event together. And so that I don't talk too much, I believe the best experiences are seen for themselves. So here's a clip of what we do. Fellas? at a really fast pace. So just keep your eyes and ears open and just stay curious, and the world will open up to you. Have a good evening, guys.
Ted, welcome, sir.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much, Baggy. And you need to make sure if you work in government, you use the correct titles. I'm actually your boss. So, complete with a job group. And those who work in government know about job groups. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll make this very quick. Yes, we have played in this industry for the longest time, and I would like to introduce you to two things. Number one is what you see on the screen. This is Africa Creative Arts and Innovation College. This is the latest college in town. Now, I don't know if you guys know that most of you corporates are fighting a losing war because the people you're trying to target are not listening to you. And you will try, you won't get them. They're not in the houses, they're not in the clubs, they're not in the malls. That's why the malls are empty. That's why when your child comes home, they want to lock themselves in the room. You think they want to harm themselves, but because they exist in a different place. Now, we intend to harness these people. These guys have a very short attention span. They're not interested in your long courses for 10 years, 3 years. They do not want to do those things. And that's why there's a very high rate of dropouts right now happening. After all, they reckon that campus is taking 5 years. Every day there's a strike. And they're learning, they say that they're learning things which they don't feel that they like. Now, there's a generation out here, and this generation is disrupting the workplace. That's why they're unemployable. If you try and employ them, they'll only be there for 3 months, 4 months. They want to come at whatever time. They want to dress the way they want. It's all about photographs, taking pictures. These guys are risk takers, and they do not believe in putting in 50 to 70 hours a week to do something they don't like. That generation is disrupting what you know as the marketplace. And any product which does not listen to what I'm saying today, you are going to die, including the government that I serve. And I tell them this every day. They're hustlers to the core. They love hustling. But they also love doing what they like. Right now, there's a big shift in this generation towards the arts. And the creative economy has been predicted to produce the next lot of billionaires, trillionaires, and zillionaires. Ignore them at your own peril. Regardless whatever brand you have. 2 of Kenya's biggest brands have tried, and they're paying the price. And more are there to come. Now, let me shock you. To this generation, going to church is CSR. Yes, that explains to you why the biggest songs in the clubs are gospel songs. It's the same crowd. They're very collaborative. Now, they're not in the house. They're not in the clubs. They're afraid of coming to the clubs because, one, the price is too much for them to afford a drink. That's why every product in the market has gone to a smaller SKU. 2 guys can have 1,000 bob and have good fun, take an Uber, go home, and be drunk. Now, this generation feels that you guys don't care about them. They think that you guys don't know what they're all about. And they've planned in their heads unknowingly to teach you a lesson. Right now, there is something called the big brand boycott. This generation does not care about your big brand. They do not dress in the clothes you used to dress in. Pierre Cardin, all those guys mean nothing to them. That's why they're shifting to dress in the African prints and fashion. So this school is opening up end of this month on Baricha Road. We shall offer short courses, 3 months, 4 months, but in creative areas, in the creative economy. And don't say I didn't tell you this is happening. Give me the next one. Now, the next thing is what I need all of you guys to pay attention. This event is happening in August. It's called the Youth Opportunity Summit. The government is saying that they have money for the youth and opportunities. All NGOs are saying that they've been given money by USAID and everybody to empower the youth. All corporates are saying that we have a certain amount of percentage set aside for the youth. Churches are saying that we are targeting the youth. But churches give all their used equipment to the youth. They give all the old choir robes to the youth. They give the old equipment to the youth. Yet these are meant to be the future. These guys want their lot. And they want it now. And if you don't give it to them, they're going to take it or cause what we call the disruption. Ladies and gentlemen, the Youth Opportunity Summit happening in August at the KICC. Is Wanja here? Okay, you can talk to Wanja, she'll tell you what's happening. Now, I've just told you about two things. You will remember that I stood here and I told you about them. Have a great evening.
Choice. I'm proud, and we are proud to be associated with Marketing Africa. And this evening, I just want to talk briefly about what we do. We are a subscriber management company, and we bring people together through entertainment. And as you just saw, we're in the month of April, and all our kids are at home. So I want to encourage
all of you for making time to be with us tonight. It has been a long journey for us. I wish to appreciate the Marketing Africa team led by Harriet, Jenga, and Rapias, Nelson, Mwai, and Joseph. This topic was floated to us by none other than Raymond B. of CPF and Irene. A clap for them. When we shared it out through our viral platform, we got a lot of interesting feedback. We were being asked, this is a completely irrelevant topic. Why are you bringing it to Marketing Night? The asking was not limited to verbal. Some of it was put to mail. In fact, one of the askers works with me. So when the girls began to make calls out to you people, they were extremely frustrated. They came back to me and said, nobody wants to come. First of all, that card, the way it is designed, it was designed by none other than Eric Ngang, our designer, is seated there. He looks like Bob Marley. So a few guys call us and say, how can you put a pig on the card? So we are not coming. We say, no problem. Then others say that is an irrelevant topic. I had to sit with my team and tell them, look, there are people selling alcohol. There are people selling drugs. And they are hitting their targets. And these products are messing people's lives. They are celebrating about it. You are selling what will give people mental capacity, improve them to have a better journey ahead. If somebody tells you no, tell them thank you and pray for them. I'm happy to be here today. So my team, thank you so much. Raymond, thank you for bringing that topic. It really means a lot. I've understood it much more better than before. I had to tell my team a small story. There's a How many of you read Marketing Africa magazine? I feel disappointed because even in this age of digital stage, you still demand for hard copies, but we'll still give them to you. There's a story coming in the next magazine, and the writer who runs the column called Crossfire was talking about the frustrations they had with Pilsner. And he relates this story to a girl and a boy in some posh neighborhood. So this guy starts admiring the lady. Of course, makes feelers. I don't think he was church-alike, but he makes feelers out. They start talking. He did everything for her. Took her out, even cooked for her. Took her to every other place. When one day he proposed to her, she told him, "I'm sorry, we are just friends." Well, you may laugh about it. A lot of our brands today are struggling with that challenge. You have done everything, literally, to the customer. You are everywhere, you communicate the best way ever. They tell you, we've seen you, we like you, but they are not buying you. What does it tell you? You are endangered, you need to go back to the kitchen, isn't it? I wish to thank our keynote speaker, Mr. Kili. Thank you so much for accepting to come tonight. A clap for him. Among our writers here, Boniface Ngao, who runs the Talking Point column. Ngao, if you can wave. 3T engineer. She's one of the best coaches in the region. And of course, the person who does the last word has always remained nameless. But is Mr. Mutua seated right next to Mr. Ekwe. In fact, the topic he covered this time round, when he filed it, I told him, this is so hot, can I make it a cover story? So on Monday, look out for Marketing Africa. I have classmates here, which tells you I went to school, isn't it? By the way, I was not visiting. I came out with papers that work, yeah? I've got Tom Simba. Tom is a very nice guy nowadays, but before then, Tom, you can wave to guys. Tom is the head of marketing and communications at the Nairobi Hospital. You can see somebody who appreciates the power of knowledge. He always brings a team to this forum. There are some of us, because you are not in Nairobi and you run a department of 15 people, you say, no, I am not around, so we will not come. Think twice, because you are endangered. Tom Omiti. Not all of them are Tom, by the way. Tom Omiti is the GM of Kenya Orient. Oliver Omosa, Tropical Promoters. He's the only man on that table. I don't know how he's managing it. George Ogutu. Peter Mwaniki from CPF. And Owen Kwalia from KRA. I know a lot of you need him. Owen, you can... If you have challenges, I know some of you call me on the side and say, where is that number for that guy of yours? I hope he always sorts you out. And of course, I have my mentors here. People who've been there, done that, and they have nothing to brag about. Mutua and David Oliwa. Tonight looks like it's just a thanking night, isn't it? My wife is here and she brought a very strong team of doctors. For those of you who are challenged, you can be sorted out. Then, of course, I have Albert Atias, a very good friend for many years. Albert, you can say hi to people. And our longtime friend, Dan Kazungu, the former CS. Please come and say hi, Dan. I was told you must come and they want to hear your voice. They seem to have forgotten it. He's always growing young by the minute. I don't know what he...
Thank you, William. Thank you so much. Great marketers, our keynote speaker, Mr. Kili. Now, today I've known that he actually comes from my hometown of Malindi. You know, the good thing when you network. All you great people, the former immediate Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Ekwe, all of you great people, good evening. Good evening. I'm sure you don't want to forget my voice so soon. I was in Parliament here, but before that, I was very much in this type of environment. I come from the private sector. I spent almost a decade in the ICT industry, working for multinational. Well, you know IBM Corporation. I used to run IBM Corporation in 7 countries in Africa. Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Ethiopia, and Eritrea. I did the same thing for Lenovo. I started Lenovo operations here, 1 month, 7 countries, 4 years. So I'm very much at home talking to you, more in the private sector, but I know also there's a public sector practitioner here as well. That was before I went to Parliament, and that's how I met Honorable Ekwe there. I didn't even finish my term, 3 years. And then His Excellency one afternoon called me up that I should join cabinet to become the Minister for Mining. And so I've been doing mining for the past 2 years until January when, again, he, in his own wisdom, he said that I should go and serve this great country and himself in the neighboring United Republic of Tanzania. So I hope to see you all in Dar es Salaam when we start pushing for Kenyan opportunities, Kenyan interests, especially about markets. Today is about talking about marketing in Africa. And William, I should say, I really appreciate your your rider on the Marketing Africa when you say marketing as on frontiers. That's marketing without borders. And please, a clap for William for that. Because truly, that's what it's all about. Kenya, our focus, there's a real focus now on not just on the Big Four, which also focuses on manufacturing. So we'll be doing a lot of things on manufacturing, on value addition. But the question that we should be asking ourselves is, where are the markets? And the first market we should be looking at, first and foremost, is East Africa. And we have a big growing region here in EAC. And we're talking Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi. Did you know that last year, Southern Sudan signed up to become a member of EAC? That's a huge market. That's the first market that we should be guarding. Because if you don't, then you have other players coming from South Africa, from Egypt, in North Africa, taking advantage of COMESA, and you have India and China coming to the region. So we have a lot of pressure in this region. So what we need to do as Kenya and the East African states is to guard against this market. It's a precious market, almost over 200 million people. And as I go to Tanzania, William, I understand you have CEO nights. I want to be coming down maybe quarterly or bi-monthly to come and engage you. Because the one thing I want to see more Kenyan investment into Tanzania. I want to see more goods and services, more expertise into Tanzania. And Tanzania as just the first hurdle, but because if you engage Tanzania well, it's an opportunity for us to open the entire Great Lakes region, the East and Central Africa region, which is, again, it's a playground for all of you. I'm talking about CEOs, but who knows? I'm sure the next crop of CEOs will come from you. Please clap for yourself, because you're the next CEOs. So we want to engage. We want to engage in the spirit of win-win, because when Tanzania becomes stronger, Kenya becomes stronger. When Uganda becomes stronger, I believe Rwanda should be stronger. And that's what we should be looking at. Beyond ESC, you know the big story this past month. The focus on now signing off the Continental Free Trade Area. So you have a whole lot of Africa coming together. But let's maximize opportunity in the ESC before going for the rest of Africa. A huge platform for all of you and all of us to grow this country, to grow this region, and to grow our continent. So I really thank you so much for this opportunity. Tonight is not a night for speeches, it's a night for networking, engaging, learning 1 or 2 things, and I wish you all the very best. And thank you so much for giving this opportunity.
Learn the network. Why do we want you to network? I've been asked that question so many times. Why do we want you to network? A lot of companies today, nearly all of them, mega, small, even briefcase companies, if you enter their offices, the workstation is worse than a classroom. It then means that if I don't know Irene personally and I can have a cup of coffee with her off base, there is no business I'll deal with her. Give us a clap for giving you opportunity. I wish to invite the former Speaker of the Senate, Mr. Ekwe Thuro, to say hi to you. He's a great investor in giving back. He's among the very few Kenyans who give their time in terms of coaching, engagements with young people, and mentoring. A lot of us, because you occupy a very big office, you think that you should disconnect yourself from the people who are below you, forgetting that tomorrow they are the biggest future. Ekwe, please.
But good evening. I wish to recognize the former CS and now His Excellency, the Ambassador to Tanzania. I hope Bwana Magufuli bwana hawezi tu kuuza munada. And our chief guest for this occasion, my good friend Kili. When William invited me as usual, and then I looked at the particular topic for this evening, then it was very obvious to me the man was referring to me. Because when I was in an activity like this one in Nairobi at the KICC, I talked about devolution and the Senate. Now the next one is talking about retirement. And I think it is in the public knowledge that I'm the most freshly minted retiree. And this conversation is real. There are many of us in high places who do not give a damn about our future because we think the future will always remain rosy. So when I realized that some Kenyans are thinking about this conversation, I felt it was extremely important that we actually come and listen. And listen to a man that at least in my last few years, I've worked very closely with Mr. Kili in terms of trying to get a pension fund and the staff of the county governments to actually enroll in a pension fund, because I think it's extremely important. Pensions, retirement schemes are not issues of political interest in this country. But if you go to the rest of the countries, in Europe, pension is a political issue. You lose and win elections on the basis of your agenda for the pensioners. Partially because most of the voters, you know, on the basis of demography, are retirees. But maybe for us, because of our own demography in terms of a youthful population, we don't really think about it. So I think an invitation, a conversation as a nation, to start talking about these things. There are a few things in the last 10 years that I tried to do preparing for my own retirement. But if you consider some of the proposals at the marketplace, like the bonds, you are talking about 20 years. Now you ask yourself, now how do I invest in something for another 20 years? The good Bible tells us that God can give you an average of 70 years. The rest are a bonus if you live in the life of Sir Charles Njonjo. So this conversation is actually applicable, I think, as Irene said, to the younger people, to the kind of people I see in this room who should really start thinking about how they want to do and how they want to retire in the future. For those ones of us who are late in starting, it is never late. Let's start from where we are, and I think it will be well. So mine is just to say thank you very much, to see familiar names. I've been associated with William and marketing in Kisumu, in Mombasa, in Nairobi, and it's always a pleasure. Because one other thing is about knowledge. How many of us really exercise our minds in terms of the kind of issues that we meet at the Marketing Africa Marketing Night? So all the best, but don't be near my table because I have never won a single contest. God bless.
Thank you, William. Good evening. How are you all? My name is Pablo, as my friends call me. My name is Paul Nganga, for those who like to be a bit more formal. Now, I want to just, before I introduce the keynote speaker, flashback about 13 years ago. I was 25 years, and I just, I know some people are doing some calculation. I'm 38. I had just ventured into entrepreneurship. I set up a brand consultancy, that time with a partner, friend of mine, a brilliant designer called Jebet Chamgorem. And we had caught wind that there's an organization that's going to be rebranding. And so we put together a pitch. I remember we worked until around 2 a.m., went home and freshened up, and then went and made a pitch. The name of the company that was rebranding at that time was Kenya Local Government Officers Superannuation Fund. Now, I can tell you that I kept wondering what the name superannuation fund means, or superannuation. And to this date, I still don't understand what superannuation means, by the way. But anyway, we went and put together a pitch, and we presented to the team. And in the middle of the table, it was a very darkly disorganized, disheveled, very government-like office, was a lean gentleman. His name was Hosea Kili. And that is how I met the speaker tonight. Now, as you would be expecting, we were sure, because we're in a government office, that someone is going to call us and tell us, hey, because we were quite impressed with the pitch. I guess we had not done a very bad job. But I was sure someone would call us and tell us, hey, sasa, yetu iko wapi? But to our surprise, nobody bothered with that conversation. And we ended up having a very engaging rebranding exercise, and we created a brand called UpTrust. That was 13 years ago. We continued our working relationship for about, I think, 2 years, during which the gentleman who is going to speak to us, became a big brother and a friend. Now, he is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Mr. Hosea Kili is also the group managing director of CPF Financial Services and a trustee of the Local Authorities Pension Trust. Now, last I checked, I think the Local Authorities Pension Trust had a balance sheet, or rather had funds on administration in excess of 27 billion. I don't know how far we are now. Now, he is a recipient of numerous commendations, and he has been awarded the Presidential Order of Grand Warrior of Kenya. That was in December 2011. He was a second runners-up of CEO of the Year Award at the Company of the Year Awards 2012. He was also recognized as He was also recognized as a Personality of the Year at 2017 Pension Awards that sought to award excellence in innovation and service provision to improve the outcomes of both pension funds as well as members. Now, Mr. Kili also has been recognized as the second runners-up in the CEO of the Year category during the 2017 Champions of Governance Awards. So, he is a man of many fasts. He holds a Master's of Business Administration from the Management College of South Africa, and he's a fellow member of the Institute of Certified Public Secretaries of Kenya, ICPSK, who also happened to be our clients at some point, courtesy of our good friendship. And he's a fellow and council member of Kenya Institute of Management, CIM, and an active member of the Law Society of Kenya. And finally, he is also a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, that is a Kenyan chapter. I take this opportunity to welcome my friend, my big brother, Mr. Hosea Kili. Come on, let's give him a loud of applause.
Thank you very much. I want to say that when I was asked to speak at this event, I wondered exactly what I was going to say, how I'm going to be received by the ladies and gentlemen in the marketing world. But then I comforted myself with one observation, that although I started my life as a lawyer, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, I grew up to become a financial expert of some kind. And I had to learn to develop brands. And I owe everything to Paul. And eventually, I learned that I had to market my brands. And I think I'm suitable to be a member in good standing of this august house. Now, ladies and gentlemen, most of my friends in my circles call me Mr. Pensions. Because I am very passionate about pensions. Maybe I would be a good president in France, where pensions makes your decision about how people are going to be taken care of in retirement or when they are going to retire. Because the government fights with the people in France and other countries of such nature in Europe. The government wants to increase the retirement age one more year so that you can make a saving. But the people want to bring it down maybe 2 or 3 years younger. Okay? In Kenya, we don't want to retire because our own retirement plans is in the paycheck. Kweli urongo? That's why some of my friends sitting on my table here, they never leave after being on the stage in government. Ekwe, allow me to make fun of you. He's looking for a job now, I can assure you. Or you will not mind being tapped for a job. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most boring story in Kenya. The story about retirement. It is not the topic for people who are having a nice marketing out on a Friday night. But I want to make it the foremost topic for you guys going forward. And maybe I need the help of people like Big Jet. It's my first time to meet on the stage Mr. Ted. And I would believe that I would love to have the younger people really take up the story, make it chic, the discussion about what happens to us when employer doesn't need you anymore. And that can come sooner than later. Ladies and gentlemen, CPF Group is a public institution majorly working in the county governments, but with the ideas which are actually fitting within the marketplace. We want, our aspiration is to be an innovative institution and show that in the public sector, you can actually make it a better working environment for the young people. And with that, I would like to introduce or will have you know my part of my team. Can you stand up so that people can see you? That is, I have more than 250 employees in the group, as we call ourselves a house of brands, 7 institutions in one, and still growing. We intend to be polygamous. Thank you very much. Have a seat. Now, I will take a few minutes just to make sure that you understand what we are talking about. 90%, I don't know whether you know this, cannot sustain the same lifestyle. 90% of us, when we reach a time when we can no longer work, or when no employer is willing to hire you, you cannot sustain your lifestyle, which you have built very strongly. 50% of us are looking forward to depending on our children as our retirement plan. 30%, roughly, will die of stress because they never planned how they would like to retire. 15% keep on working. Do you know anybody who is still going working even at the age of 60? Do we know? In fact, one of them is a very, very important man in our country, and I think he works with big debt. Do we know a mzee called Kinywa? What is this? He's still working, We still work because we are not able to retire. Because if we retire, our lifestyle drops, or we are unable to live by the standards we have expected for ourselves and our families. You can imagine, and I want to tell you, I have a friend who is going to give us a testimony here, but I believe if you have to give time to speak ahead, Ekwe, he will tell you something. You definitely will miss the lifestyle. You know, my friend, Ekwe had a retinue of fleet of vehicles which don't have numbers. They have the name of the job of the holder. Okay? When he leaves tonight here, I believe he will drive himself home. So, the shock of retirement is so real. Now, and you see the number of those of us who will be financially independent at retirement. So, if these are the statistics, real, are we prepared for retirement? Will we be? Most of us, if I were to ask, how many have a pension plan arranged by themselves? Konoju. By themselves. Not the employer. I can hardly see. Here's a few of us. Okay? How many of us have a pension plan organized by the employers? Okay? Slightly more. Those are the guys who are, they have the whip on their head, so they have to, they complain when the deduction is made on their pay slips. Kweli urongo? They even think this thing is a tax. And you know how most of us want to evade tax. I think the Jiraini must be one of the most unpopular CEOs. That's why Tata wants him out of office like yesterday. Now, these are the unfortunate graphic images of our professionals. Is a football player a professional? Have you ever seen this guy? This one here. I just picked this from the net. Very, in their highest point of life, these were the people we were worshiping, celebrities. And I think most of us would remember how many celebrities we have come across. Kweli wrong. The same guy is here. What is he doing? He's trying to earn a living sorrowfully by collecting paper to try to sell to earn a living. Where are the funds? Where have they disappeared to? The people who are yelling Gor Mahia. Huh? Huh? Who are the most popular football players now? Me, I'm not a fan, so I don't understand. Oliech. Huh? Eh? Wanyama. The guy who I think I've seen him on TV, he drives a big car. I can tell you, unless Wanyama has a proper pension plan, the car will disappear and the ladies around him will disappear. Can you move on? Now, I come from the athletes. I'm a man from the hills, where the athletes of Kenya come from, where we call ourselves the source of champions. Sindio? Very many of them. If I were to ask you each an individual name who has ever come to the limelight, out of maybe a number of 10, maybe only one is a success. Some of them we know, like Ball Terkat. The rest, you cannot even remember anymore. There was a very popular athlete called Rono. For there was this like me and Ekwem, we must remember him. He broke 4 world records, international world records. I don't know what is going on with his life in the US. What I know is that he possibly is an homeless guy in the streets of Chicago. So, retiring without a plan is like what? Eh? Buying yourself what? A very heavy coffin, which will sink to the bottom of your grave. Now, can I retire and end up poor? Is that a question you should ask yourself? Yes. When we are young and the way we are having a nice time, we make poor investment decisions. We never realize that our jobs are being, and I think Big Dad says that, your jobs are shifting. Your cheese has moved. We face this, we face this. But the problem is that we remain happy. We have a demeanor of invulnerability. We believe we know everything. Particularly when you are a professional, you think, since I was the top of the class, I was the best, nothing will touch me. Success makes you proud and blind. How many of us say, Niko na kabloti? I have a fleet of taxis as my pension plan. Now, that is a very serious pointer. From the day you are born, you are on the journey to where? Retirement. Now, this is the picture we normally have on of the life you should ideally have. Senor, when you are retired, this is not normal. The most likely face of what most of us will be you standing near the beach, but most likely staring, full of thoughts and possibly thinking of jumping into the sea. That is the reality. We begin to think about yesterday. In fact, that's the time your memories now go back, and you start saying, I wish I didn't take a mortgage, which I have not managed to clear, and I have no job. Some of us marry just around 50. Then they retire 5 years down the line. Number 5, men. The men do this so much. And I think there's a lady who is encouraging us to do even worse. She's actually saying, no lady should be single. Well, that's a debate for another day. So, at CPF Group, it's our business to see and educate our people how to mitigate these risks. Longevity risk. Most of us, we have a fatalistic thinking that since the demographics of Kenya say the life expectancy of Kenyans is in the region of 58. Women normally live longer than the men. Okay? So women maybe you can take a bit of joy that you'll outlive these men. But the problem is that the reality is that you live very likely to the ripe old age of 80s, 90s, and beyond. So the little plan you had put in place, the money will run out before you reach your grave. And the children will have flown away to the US. And they want to switch off. They'll block your phone. They will not want to see your phone. Now, health problems come in. I can tell you, talk to your old lady, your old mom, your old dad. This is a major issue. What plans do we have for our health and our expenses on health after retirement? Or, as most of us do, leave it to fate. So weigh your investment option vis-a-vis the economic outlook. That's what we should do. I think we are so good in planning our lives, how to have a beautiful wedding, how to go and enjoy ourselves on a cruise, go out there and discover yourselves. But hardly anybody thinks about these challenges which will come tomorrow when you are no longer able to do anything about them. You are gone. You can no longer do anything about it. And I have worked in the last 13 years in pension sector to have seen all kinds of experiences. And the biggest and the most saddest experiences I came across are the professionals. Many of them, they will not want to join a pension arrangement. They don't want. They believe that they have put aside enough resources. They bought a house. In fact, they look at their house, the nice house in Mudaiga or other places, as an investment. I have come to learn that that's not an investment. It's just a block of bricks with a roof. Because you live in it, you can't ever sell it. So even if it's worth 100 million, it won't help you. You have a huge liquidity problem. Okay? Now, our message at CPF Group is the biggest enemy is ourselves. So today I want to preach to you to join the club of the Pensions Club. People who believe in this thing. Protect yourself against who? If you don't remember anything else I've said tonight, remember this. If you are not doing anything to protect yourself against your own self, this I want to opine. When members of parliament, after one term, they never get a pension. They are very good. They are very clever on this one, by the way. Members of parliament are they've got the best pension arrangement. because they get a pension fixed at around 100,000. And you can confirm for me, Mheshimiwa, at 100,000 if they serve for only 10 years. Is it true? 100,000 they will get for life. But then, if they serve only one term, they will get something called gratuity. And many of us love this. How many of us love this thing? After every 3 years, when you are walking out of your employer or renewing your employment, what do you want? What do we do with gratuity? Do we invest it? Tunakula, sindio? Kaplot. Gratuity is lump sum. It comes to your pocket. You will definitely eat it. It is a fight between, it actually is what you call, my friend Judah Bett there, is a pharmaceutical professional, retired. But there's something called immuno. It's the immuno. When the immunity, when the body fights itself, autoimmunity. Is that right? Autoimmunity. Oh, the doctors are there. Now, this is exactly what's happening with us when it comes to pension. And doctors are the worst. In fact, second to lawyers. I'm a lawyer, but I've been talking to lawyers, and the Law Society signed an MOU with us so that lawyers can save at least. Those guys are dangerously writing very fast to oblivion because they have no medicine to protect against themselves. So provident is lump sums. Given lump sum, you will never turn to be a wonderful Dukawala overnight after you retire at 50 or 60. Period. You can't do it. It's not done. Hustles, land, etc. are not pension plans. And I challenge you to challenge me. I'm a Mr. Pension. Pension, in my own definition, and I'm from my own perspective after experience, is actually the legitimate separation. Remember this? Or removal of your money from you to a legal institution to manage it for you, for your benefit and that of your dependents. If you have not done this to protect your own money from yourself, you have nothing. You have no pension plan. And I want now to challenge you. Many of us, we remember people who earned after they work for maybe 30 years, their employers, the big multinationals, gives you a check, one check, with the big drums rolling, 50 million shillings. Former CEO of a multinational. The next thing you hear, the guy becomes as stupid as a guy who never went to school. And because he will buy a big car, try to finish a house he had never started building in Nyalgunga, and then, before he knows it, 50 million has run out. And then you wonder, is this the same guy who used to advise other people? So the pension plan, and that's why the whole of Western world recognize pension as the solution for old age poverty, is because the system is rigged in such a manner that first you are forced to contribute, to make contributions. It is locked away and invested by somebody else who is sober when they are making the investment. They are not emotionally attached to that money. And finally, pays back to you in the same quantitative amount you used to earn when you are working. That is the only way you will be sure to have the same lifestyle you now have when you retire. If it is not in a legally established institution which prevents you from accessing it, even after you retire, and then you earn it on a monthly basis, that is not a pension plan. What you have is illusions. Illusions of grandeur. Now, take action. My message to you is take action today. Register even in any pension arrangement and ensure it's a pension plan, nothing else. I don't preach about anything else. I preach only about pension. Because everything else is half measures. Have a debt management strategy, so that by the time you reach retirement, you have already cleared all your debts. Your pension lump sums is not for settling what? Debts. That lump sum is actually what you need to take your wonderful partner, spouse, name it, on a holiday in the Caribbean. And then you can go and sit by the seaside, right next to in Bahamas or somewhere, and now you can sip your daiguri. And now you are good. That is a picture I want you to paint for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to take action for your own life? Are you? Yes. Now, just to crown it all, I want to invite my friend, Judah Bett. Judah Bett is a CEO of S3 East Africa, which is a company dealing in GIS technology. Yes. And he has two lives. The life before retirement and the life after retirement. He is a professional by excellence. And I want you to tell you a short testimony about himself, why he had to retire and come back to work. Most of us will do the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kili. Good evening. When he called me the other day to invite me to this event and prepare to give a testimony, then I started thinking, when did I get saved? So that I would give my Christian testimony. And then he clarified this evening of what my testimony would be. He mentioned that I'm a pharmacist by profession. I've been a marketer for 36 years and still going. Not marketing pharmaceuticals though, but for the last 10 years, marketing big data, science, software, GIS. I work for Johnson & Johnson and was following the footsteps of Ambassador His Excellency. In the territories that he was working, I was working for those 7 countries for Johnson & Johnson. In 2006, I retired voluntarily. And I was given the lump sum gratuity. And then I asked myself, what will I do with it? And there is nothing frustrating than waking up in the morning and not knowing what to do. You would have your shower, even put on a tie, sit in the sitting room, and you don't know what to do. Then a friend of mine approached me to invest in the big data GIS company called S3 Eastern Africa. And I sat as a chairman, non-executive. And again, I did not know what to do. And I decided, why don't I go and read and spend time anyway? As I was driving out of Management University of Africa, I was encouraged to see Senator also driving in his big car. I don't know what he was reading in that school. And I was also reading. Anyway, fate would have it that I was recalled back as a marketer and with experience to market now software. I said, product is a product. And if you are a marketer, you can market anything. They say even ice to the Eskimos. So where did I go wrong or where did I do right in my investment or in my pension plans? One, I was one of those people who was forced to contribute to a pension scheme. And when the time came to retire, and you have this lump sum, and you don't know what to do with it, it can become a challenge. When I reinvested now in this big data company, I was again forced to continue in the pension scheme. There is the NSSF. Can I tell you, after 26 years of working, when I was told you are no longer a contributor, the pension that they gave me was $186,000 100,000 shillings when I was earning a 6-figure salary. What was that? It was pocket change. So that is not where to save. That's not where to save if you are dependent on NSSF. The pension scheme is this one by CPF. Secondly, without gratuity, pray hard that you continue to put it into an investment that will continue to give you the income. As you have, many of you might have read the book, Rich Dad and Poor Dad. And if you do that, then you'll be able to earn and take your loved ones to the beach. So I am a contributor right now, and I'm retiring in 2 years' time, and I believe I will not take a lump sum this time. I will wait to earn continuously until I retire. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, he has a long story, including building a home after retirement. He has made all the mistakes everybody has made. And I want us to take a lesson from people like him. He's lucky to have been having big friends who still needed this service. Most of us will not be needed. You are excess. You are obsolete. Senor? So be very careful. The only thing which will be your best friend at that time is if you have Kili as your pension administrator. And that Kili, at the moment, some of my pensioners who are professionals are adding pensions in the figure, six-figure amount, like over 200,000, 300,000. That's what we pay our pensioners. We don't pay what you talked about from the other. Yeah, we are serious people. We have been here in the business for the last 85 years. We are as old as actually almost the colonial Kenya. At that end and outside there, I have brochures of a pension scheme for all of you, which currently is used by governors in counties. It is called CPF pension. And you can become a member using your phone. The number you use to dial and become a member right away is *289#. *289#. Yes, here. M-Pension is a plan for every Kenyan, and I want us to enroll the youth, because they like this kind of game. No paper. Yeah? Who was the gentleman who said that these are the guys, they sit in the bedrooms and do their own thing in their own space. They play on this game. Now, what we are doing as CPF Group in this space for the future is something which I have realized because I've been studying the behavior of Kenyans. I want to make you guys not change your lifestyle. Don't even worry about the pension and retirement. I just want you to first join the scheme, go to the menu, and get into your wallet in the system, and put a check-off on your phone through your M-Pesa. And every time you just do your transactions, you do anything, you buy airtime, some money will go to the scheme. And the system will tell you, oh, Juliet, you have saved 50 shillings or 100 shillings when you went to buy something. We want you to continue spending as you save. I don't want you guys who like your beer. Drink as much as you want. But if you agree to lock CPF into your phone, you should be able to continue drinking. But when you pay your bill through your M-Pesa, some amount will be checked off so that I realize that most of us won't actually believe in the message, but they are very poor in remembering to actually execute. So the problem is remembering to execute. So we want to automate this system. And if you want to join us in this journey, where we shall have more than a 1 trillion shillings pension economy in this country, we want to have maybe 3 times that. And if we are 3 times that, our government will not go borrowing expensive funds from Eurobond and everywhere. They will simply borrow from us. Can we lend our government our own money? Let's lend our government our own money. That is a message. Can somebody let the drums roll? So the only way you can lend money to our government is by saving it in a pension scheme, because we invest it in treasury bonds. Treasury bonds is a way in which the government borrows from us. Do we want to build our own roads? Do you want to be proud that we are building our own roads? Then can we in the next few years have more than the 1 trillion we now have in pensions? Can we have 3, 4, 5, 10, like the guys in Singapore? You heard the other day, and by the way, the pension scheme for Singaporean is called CPF. I borrowed the name from there. Ours is called County Pension Fund. In Singapore, they have declared surplus in the national economy. So people can go away with a dividend from their own government. When are we going to have that in Kenya? We can have it if we can agree that we put aside money for our own retirement, because we don't need it now. We will need it later. If we do that, our country will be built with our own sweat, just like God wanted it to be done. And asanteni sana for listening to me tonight. Thank you.
And other people are going to take over. And the challenge we have in this country is that you may be a trustworthy person, but the person who follows you may be not badly, but like our governor. Not badly, but you don't know what their character is like. Is this somebody you're going to be able to trust? Is this an institution you're going to be able to trust? And that's, I think, let's face it, as Kenyans, corruption is something that is really plaguing us. How sure are we what you're saying is going to happen when we actually retire? Thank you.
We are happy to have youth who are getting into creatives, but the enforcement of pension and pension products in the market still remains a challenge, because as much as people know they would like to save for their pension, now the enforcement part, which I think the last thing that you demonstrated tries to talk about, still is something that makes it look like the pension is not a core conversation. It is just in case you have a thought about it. So what exactly are we doing to just make the products that are going out there in the market to be more robust and more attractive for the generation right now?
Why I'm saying this is because 3 weeks ago I was somewhere in South Africa and the same subject came up, but it was funny because the guys actually knew where their money was going, into what specific investment vehicles that their money had gone to. And they could track, say, the investments that came at the end of the year. So my question is, are we able to track, say, if you've given your money in a year, are you being able, I mean, can we get a report that it was invested in particular money market, this was the return, this is what you're entitled to? Yeah, thank you.
Money be secure after you retire. Eh? Or after I retire? My God, Kenyans, and they are doubting. I tell you something. No. CPF or the whole name, which is slap trust. First of all, we are not one institution. Hey, madam, we are not one institution. First of all, the county governments have their own pension arrangement. You are not eligible to join that scheme because unless you are working in the counties or working in a related institution to the counties. The one we are talking for you guys is CPF pension. That's an individual scheme as separate for people who volunteer to become the champions for their own lives, future lives. Now, retirement sector is the most regulated sector. It's actually next to banks. After banks, which are regulated by the central bank, retirement sector is properly regulated. And the people who take care of your money are different and invest it is different from me, the administrator, who keeps your records and tells you how much is in your account. The people who keep the money is custodians, which are basically registered banks. Each of them report each other. It's actually a structure whereby every 3 months they must tell the regulator what the other one is doing. So while I'm doing my administration, if I don't keep good records for you, the member will tell, because you are accessible to the website to check your balances. And for those using the mobile phone, you can actually know your balances every time. And you remember I said, going forward from this year, we are going to now provide for a notification message to your phone every time you make a contribution. So it doesn't depend on Mr. Kili standing here or being in this institution. We have systems. We are one of the only public institution which is paperless. We don't have lost files because all our files are electronic. All our systems is top of the range, and you heard us, we are selling certain IT services. We don't rely on Mr. Kili. Mr. Kili is also going to retire and enjoy his pension, hopefully. Well, I hope I'm preaching to myself. The second question is?
Brian asked about the Kenyan Constitution,
Pensions. Pension Act, Chapter 189, and I know many lawyers that could be here, including Mheshimiwa. That one is the Pension Act belongs to the civil servants. Any civil servants in the house? Konoju? Yes. So Pension Act, my friend there, does not belong to all of the rest of us. The rest of us are relying on mishmash, where you are either saving through NSSF, and I think you heard from my friend about that one. Saving through your own private arrangements, saving through chamas, shamba pale, a house there, a matatu there, and then others saving through their employers in their own private way. Nothing is at the moment mandatory, other than being in NSSF if you are an employee of a private institution. The ones who are mandatorily taken care of are the people who are civil servants, and that's why the Pension Act applies to them. All of us, if you are in a saving arrangement for pension or any other retirement arrangement, the regulator, the law which applies is Retirement Benefits Authority Act. And this is a place where you take your complaints in case you think that somebody is not taking care of your money. You are entitled to full disclosure on all investments. For us at CPF, we upload into our website all our annual reports, which tells you how much money we made for you. And we only make all the money for you, but recover only our expenses of administration and investment. The rest of the money belongs to you. We are not making money out of you. We have so many investments across the world, and I am happy to say, up to today, we are still paying our pensioners who retired in the 60s. These are our Zungus and Asians who used to work for our country before independence. And they have never failed to get their monthly pension. In fact, if I had one of my pensioners here, they would tell you that we pay our pensioners before we pay ourselves. They earn their pension by the 19th or 20th of every month. And most of us, we are paid after 25th. That is how serious we take our business. And that's why we win some of the awards we have won here. 2, we must not doubt the future. Even if we have all these challenges of corruption and others, there is always a silver lining. Majorly, most of our civil servants, most of our people are good people. The only problem is that we do nothing as Kenyans when things go wrong until it touches you personally. Kweli wrong? We know people mess our country, but we do nothing about it. Okay? We leave it to a lonely guy called Mutata. So, question number 3. Any other question? Save as you spend concept. That is the new way we want to take pension to the next level. Because we realize we cannot tell you guys to stop having your fun. Senor, will we stop you from having your fun? So we might as well make you less guilty after taking 10 beers over a weekend, because some of the money will come back. So tomorrow when you wake up, you say, oh, where did my 5,000 go to? But then somebody tells you, oh, after spending 5,000, there's actually 500 shillings which has been saved in your pension scheme. So you feel less guilty. And finally, I want to say that now, we have trusted Safaricom and M-Pesa. Sindio? Can we trust that we can do a good thing as Kenyans? Next, the next big story will be the next trillions we are going to save and begin lending money to our own government. And I'm serious about this. I'm actually driving an agenda, and you can join me in this club of believers, that we must stop borrowing from other people so that we can develop our country. It is becoming so expensive. Can I maybe ask all of you to put your hands up and say you are joining this kind of decision where we must actually make our country self-reliant? Do we agree? Yes. So if you agree, can we preach the message as marketers? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, there was one last question, eh? Frida. Enforcement is actually what I was talking about. Frida, it's difficult to preach about pension. And I would not mind being referred in Kenya as a Mr. Pension, because that's what I want to be. I want to be as unpopular as the guy who or popular as the guy who normally sells condoms in the street. You have seen him, Mr. Condom. So you can call me Mr. Pension from today. Now, the more we preach about it in our Marketers Night, and we want to ask you, are you compliant? Next time I'll come here as a member and join you, and I'll be asking, are you compliant? Are you pension compliant? Are you pension compliant? Are you pension compliant? I believe a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one. In Norway, the government has made a deliberate effort to make every Norwegian to have a pension. And they have put aside funds, which can, without any additional funds in Norway, if you live in Norway, and if you want to go, you can. But I don't know why Maguna did not run to Norway. Because in Norway, there is a pension for everybody, for life, and even, and they have enough money without any additional input into that fund to last the next 25 years. In Kenya, we have deficits and deficits. But it's because we steal from ourselves and pretend that we are not stealing. Yes. So, we will use the digital framework to make this happen. And when the time comes when I do that launching of that new way of doing things, spend as you, and I will let you guys go free into the wild and enjoy yourself. But I know that kuna kitu inakuja kwa simu na inaenda kwa account, and then we lend it to the government, and the government builds all these nice super highways for us, and all the SGR we want in this world, and all the rapid pass transport system we want for ourselves. Sindio? It has been done all over the world. There is no reason why it cannot be done in Kenya. Let us stop relying on aid, foreign aid. Eh? Are we hungry enough to fight for this? Yes. Thank you very much. May God bless all of us.
Step forward, step forward. Ndio wakuone vizuri. Wangapi wana step forward, please. Okay. Wangapi wanasema aende? Wangapi wanasema abaki? He. Okay. Suti nayo, step forward. Kazi ni ya Shafiweru. Kama unasema aende nione mikono. Kama unasema abaki. So everyone is going to remain on this.
Since Marketing Africa is not about to retire, we're just about to start, start kicking off. Can I also invite all of you down there to enjoy yourself, join the band, and have a great time, network. And as we are told, make sure you've got at least 10 cards with you, which is the whole point of having this particular function. Thank you very much.